All right, some good news. A little bit of an issue, but I got the Trent Fab bracket on. There's the alternator. I do have one problem though. You see this guy right here? That's for, you know, like the trigger. This little plug would go on right there. And what that plug does, it gives 12 volts to the alternator to allow it to actually, you know, turn on and charge. So what's going on here is you can see this plug is hitting this fuel fitting right there, and I haven't been able to drop this all the way down. I mean, it's barely not right, but even if it fit, that plug wouldn't fit in. So what I'm looking at doing, what I think, is if I get a new fitting for this and see if I can make this a 90-degree instead of a 45. So as you can see, this you know, it sticks out. So if I convert it to a 90, I'm hoping that it'll fit on better. And so, like, I used the Vibrant Performance PTFE fittings. So I use PTFE on all the fuel lines so it doesn't get eaten by gas or weird debris deposits, whatever. Because I've had problems with rubber in the past with fuel. They don't work. So that's what I think I got to do, is order up one, maybe two fittings, you know. But I needed to replace this line anyways, because last year at the Hammers, when the car caught on fire, and the reason it did that around mile 40 was this connection, it came loose right here. It just barely came loose. But what I was noticing today, if I can get the camera up in there a little bit better, man, this ain't very good. Right here, right here, there's a little spot you can see right there. So what it looks like there is the flame, you know, when it was licking on that fuel hose, it ate the liner off a little bit. Now I know it's still steel coated, you know, braided, whatever. It's probably fine, but you know what? I don't want to have that failure again. So I'm going to replace it with a new one anyways. So I may as well just go and rebuild it. I think that's the safe method to do. But I also got the tensioner bracket system on the car down there. There it is. It looks pretty sharp on there. So there it is from a front view. So you can see this is the tensioner right here. And what you would do is put a wrench on there, and you can actually force it, and it will rock back this way enough to get the belt on, and then you preload it with this little guy right here on the side. So that's what you do with this. So there should be enough clearance for the link when it comes up to not hit this bracket, but we're gonna find out, because we still have to cycle the car anyways, because I have to measure for new drive lines to be built. And so that's it. So I'm going to call it a day today. But what I also had to do was all the hardware that went into the engine block, the cylinder heads to attach these two brackets, I had to tap it. I think they were just dirty from, you know, race debris and stuff like that getting on there. So I cleaned that up, but we still have one bracket to go, and that is going to be this bracket right here for the power steering pump. And then this is one of the idler pulleys. This is going to go onto the alternator bracket. So all in all, you know, I got maybe 5 hours in today. You know, I don't feel like I got a whole lot done, but these are important things. So new brace right here, here to here. And then, you know, getting ready for the accessory drive. I think that's super important. And now we got a new alternator. Now what I noticed I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make some sort of heat shielding on the back side of this from the header. So, you know, the other alternator used to sit up pretty high like that anyways, so I'm not really worried about, you know, weird stuff happening. But I can tell you this one, looking at it right now, it's at least an inch higher than the PowerMaster alternator was. So, but this to me looks like a more quality piece. And what I like about these two is they are rebuildable too, so you can send them back to Mechman and get them rebuilt. So we're going to have to accumulate a spare in the meantime, and then I need to build a bracket on the car that actually will hold the alternator, and then we got to do another bracket again to hold the power steering pump, because I've had pumps go out at the hammers before during the race, and you can't steer the damn car, so we're going to want to fix that. So anyways, all the heat shielding is off the engine right now, so I could, you know, got stuff kind of clean. I blew it off with the air blower. And after I got the accessory drive done, we're going to go right into those Motion Race Works breathers, and then we got to make sure that where the AN ports for the lines are going to come off to breathe out the crankcase pressure, that the exhaust system is not going to be like directly on top of it, and I'm probably going to have to modify the heat shields. So that's where I'm at. So I'm going to call it a wrap for the day, because I want to go to dinner with my family. I really appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned, because there's going to be, you know, more stuff going on the car, and we have barely started to get into this list at all. So there's still going to be a lot more video footage coming out. Have a happy New Year's, guys, and thank you for watching. All right, so it's Monday. Just got into the shop, well, almost 2 hours ago. But anyways, my order from Kimball Midwest just showed up. Here's what we got today. These are, this is what we're using for spray paint. So this is stainless steel coating. That's what we're gonna be using. And then in here, this is the light gray primer. And this is all right. It's kind of been, I haven't been filming in a couple of days. It's been a disaster, what I would call it, because I was trying not to make more work for myself, because I got limited time to get ready for the hammers. But what I decided to do was finally start to paint this car. And as you can see here on the back, let's get some light. There's like our finished color. It still needs a couple layers. There's still some primer coming through. And then you know, I've got most of the rest of the car primered. I still got to get the roof off to do those tubes. I've got most of underneath there cleaned and ready to be primed. Started on the front yesterday too, you know, with the paint and everything. But yeah, I've been 3 days into taping stuff, wire wheeling stuff. I am absolutely burned out and sick of this. You know, next time if I build a car, I'm gonna paint it right away. I'm not gonna let it sit for a year and see what cracks develop and mods. I'm just gonna grind off paint and weld stuff on, and then, you know, paint over it. You know, this is insane doing it like this. So what I decided to do, this is my primer right here. This is from Kimball Midwest right here, and the sales guys came in, talked me into buying it. They said that this would do really good for existing rust. They said even if it wasn't cleaned off, it would help actually isolate the rust, keep it from, you know, doing what it does. This is the actual paint itself. This is also from Kimball Midwest. It's stainless steel as the name of the color. It's, I don't know, it's the next closest thing to steel that I can find, and it was way cheaper. And I've got, let's see, two cans I've sprayed of it so far, no clogs, so I really like it. But I can say the paint goes a long way. So the primer actually comes out really thick, and you know, you go through cans pretty quick. But the paint, I've got 2 cans of paint so far on this car, and I've got most of the back, majority of the front done. So I can say that the paint, it goes a long way. So I'm gonna get to it. So what my plan is to repaint the back a little bit more, hit spots that I missed yesterday, and then I want to get the batteries back in on the car, and then put the electrical wiring back in place. So all I did was just, you know, unbolted, you know, cables, and then zip ties. That's all I did. So I absolutely don't like it, because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel anxious, I guess, when all my cars apart. I don't like it, because the car was ready to run, and now I got stuff taken apart. So we're gonna see what happens, and supposedly Anthony's coming today to give me a hand with, you know, painting and cleaning stuff. So what I want to do is I want to focus today, at least in the beginning of the day, on cleaning cleaning more of the subframe, even though most of it's done. There's a few areas I couldn't get to because I had the panels in the car. Now the panels are out. I can get to just about everything. So I don't think I'm going to be able to hit every single tube on this car, just because ideally taking some of the plumbing off, I'm just not going to do it, you know, later on another day. So I need to make new skid plate tabs, and like I showed you guys earlier, I got this quarter inch stuff. Phone's ringing. Hopefully that's Anthony. We're going to find out. What are you doing, Jade?
Eating.
Eating? Mm-hmm. You want to say hi?
Hi.
What about you? Do you want to say hi to everybody?
What up, guys?
What are you doing?
Taping everything up to get this beautiful car painted. That's what we're doing. Don't want to make a mess.
Alright, so here's the next thing right here that I'm working on. So what I got going here is a new tab design, and let me try to find my piece of cardboard. There it is. Give you guys an idea of what I'm up to. So let's say this is the chassis tube right here. So if you can imagine, we'll say this would represent our old skid plate tab. So if we were to set this down here on the bottom, we were just bending them up like this, right? So let me set this down right here to see. So if we make these little ears, so if you can imagine, we had one here and now one on this side, and we fold them up like that, what's going to happen is, it's kind of hard to do all one-handed, but if we do it like this, you can see what's happening there. So we're going to have a little wing here, a little wing on this side. And what I think is going to happen is those little wings are going to be like a brace. So as we're trying to just fold that tab up, it'll have a little edge on each side. So I'm hoping that's going to keep it from, you know, bending so bad. And you know, now that I'm looking at this here, you know, my cardboard design's a little bit different than this. So this is what we got. So these are going to simulate the wings right here. So this will kind of be that little coped edge. And then this is the design of our old tab here in the center. So I'm going to put a bend between these 2 points. And then that way, you know, we can fold these up a little bit on each side. So we're going to get in there and cut those out. And we're going to see what happens. There it is. Let's go test it. Yeah, so that should work pretty good. So these little wings will keep this from trying to bend up so easy. So I think that's exactly what I was looking for right there. So Almost probably kind of look like a little mustache. I kind of look like Mario when I did that. All right, let me show you guys what we're doing. Essentially, we're making these little manta ray looking mustache brackets. So what we have here is I've already made some. Okay, we got a pile of them down right there. So we have 2 left to go. So let's show you what I'm doing right here. So what we got going on is this tab. You can see I made some marks on there. So we are going to use this super ghetto tool that I made years ago, and I bend metal with it. I could spend money and do a lot better, but that's not where we're at today. So what we're going to be doing is there's an edge right on the edge of this. It's knifed out. So what we're going to do is we're going to load this bracket in here, and we're going to put it so the little edge touches right there. So now what we're going to do is I got a little spacer that goes in there, and we're going to press it down. So let's get this little camera set up so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, kind of, sort of, because I can't hold the camera at the same time. That's about when you know it's done, when it jumps out, because there's not a lot to grab onto, but you can see it did that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to match it up to this other one I have here on the table. And it kind of looks like we need to go bent up a little bit more. If I can get it in here, it might just pop right back out. It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, it's just pushing out. So I got to try to do this a little different. Yeah, I didn't really do it. So, to the other side, load it in the same way. Get up to that mark. Yeah, I need this down a little bit. This other second one went better. But we gotta get it just a little bit more. Now, I'm just gonna have to beat it with a hammer later. So, time to get number 2. Actually, this is number 12 because this is the 12th one I made. Yeah, I don't know, perfect. So Swag Off-Road actually makes a do-it-yourself tool to make one of these little tools I'm using in here, but I didn't have the money at the time when I made this thing out of scrap metal, but I would really like theirs instead of this. And theirs is nice too because it's got little springs under these little things and it'll lift it right back up when you're done. That one's gonna need more. Okay, that's that. So there's my collection right there, these guys. So from Rem Metal at Gerlinger Steel to the burn table plasma cutter, down to my 17-year-old Harbor Freight press with this ghetto contraption right here, we have some new skid plate tabs. All right, here's a glimpse of those tabs. You know, and there's a couple that I made too for the corners, but they're all up in there. So now it's time to get in there and weld up everything. So I'm gonna get to welding and show you what it looks like after I'm done welding. Look at that. Paint looks pretty good, huh? I like it. So anyways, I just took off. This is the passenger side Hawley valve cover. And then in place, we're going to be doing this Motion Raceworks. So this is the driver's side one. And I'm going to get ready to put this on. And this is the dash 10. We're doing dash 10 breathers on this. So as you can see, this is the old breather size, you know, real little, versus that. So there's a big size difference on that. So I literally just pulled this off. There's our valve train and everything. So I gotta wipe this and make sure there's no dirt that dropped in there, but yeah, it looks pretty darn good in there. As you can see too, inside the chassis, I dropped down some of the wiring so I can start to paint, you know, the little subframe in there, and everything's got primer on it right now. I mean, there's a couple tubes here and there that I just couldn't quite get, but this is pretty good. You know, here's the front of the car. So I just, you know, I still got stuff to finish putting back on the front, but yeah, look at that. That looks pretty good. So I got some more cans coming so we can finish touching up a few things, but other than that, I really like the paint. You know, just buy more than you think you're gonna need, so you don't gotta like pause like I'm doing. So anyways, I'm gonna go get this valve cover put on and we'll go from there. Mama? Okay, so still having some more issues. What's going on is I bought this fitting right here. This let's just get it out of the open here. So this is more of a hard 90-degree angle, and it just still doesn't clear. Oh, what up, cat? So I'm trying to get this thing to basically fit in back there, and it's still hitting right there. So I've now gone from the regular radius style to this tight one, and still no worky. So what I'm gonna do is, so these are Vibrant Motorsports ones. That's kind of scary. I'm gonna order some Summit Racing brand, just regular 8AN rubber hose fittings, and I'm also gonna order the PTFE fitting because they're slightly different shapes. The rubber hose fitting looks like it'll clear, it necks down a little bit more. I would rather use the PTFE because I don't like rubber on fuel hoses because they break down, they suck. But I'm gonna buy one of each because I'm tired of paying for freight. So I'm gonna put those in the cart and see if that takes care of this. The next option, there's a couple of them, but the next one would be to actually neck the fuel line down to -6 on that, and I really do not want to do that at all because the whole fuel system's -8. Another thought is I could get rid of, see that blue fitting right there that goes to the fuel rail. What I can do is, because that's I think a 3/4 ORB fitting or whatever they call it, I could get a fitting that will go from that, and it can have a 90 built in that has a -8 on the end of it, and that way I'm using one fitting instead of two to go make the connection. But I really don't want to do that because trying to fit a wrench down underneath that header when it's hot, it's not going to be the most ideal thing. More than likely what I'll have to do is take a wrench and, you know, flap sand it down on the sides and make it fit in or bend it or whatever. It's probably gonna have to be a custom wrench. And I don't like the idea of having to constantly thread a fitting if I have to remove it into that fuel rail. I'd rather just leave it there because I don't want to damage the rail. I mean, probably will be fine, but torquing on that thing didn't make a secure fit. I don't like the idea of just going straight to it, on and off, on and off. And because the last King of the Hammers race, when we had that fuel fitting come loose here on the car, this guy right here, this one just came loose. It was just barely loose. And I don't know, I don't like the idea of a weird fuel fitting right next to the alternator and heat. I don't like that combination. So I don't know, I want to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure it out. So I'm getting kind of a little bit burned out today. I'm tired. It's been a long day. But as you guys can see, things are going really well. You know, it's nice having all these pieces, you know, primed up in there, so it's going to look a lot better. And then I was waiting to button up the other side, but my piece I needed just showed up. So I got this custom made 1/0 battery cable from this company right here, Battery Cables USA. In the past I just bought pre-made Power Master cables, but they didn't have one this big of wire like I wanted, and something that was kind of close, it was like $72.99 at a wholesale price. So I found this one online. I was able to even get it with the fittings that I wanted on the ends. See, they're two different sizes, and I was able to make a custom length, and I got it for like $40, you know, shipped here with tax too. So that's pretty cool. So what I got to do is see, this is the old alternator cable right here. You can see how I got this loom around it, because this tucks over near the fuel rail and underneath the heat shield and then goes to the alternator. So I gotta remove that whole cable all the way back. It actually goes underneath here, works its way back right to that red kill switch right over there. So it's heat sleeve the whole way through, and I'm going to do that again to this cable. I don't want to melt it and cause bad stuff. And then as you can see, look at that, we got valve covers, and then these are the dash 10 breathers, and you know, I got the one over there too. You can see the little fitting. So they're both on, they're loose because I'm going to have to take them back off still. I got to weld some aluminum bungs to the tops of everything so I can have a spot to screw the heat shield onto the valve covers. So that's why they're loose. And then I needed to make sure that my Y crossover pipe actually fits and clears those fittings. You know, the great news, it cleared. And what I did like that the Motion did is that the breather vents are both on the back side. So it would have been a crappy day if one was on the other corner, but I like that they're both on the back. So yeah, so moving along, and then I got a little bit of the interior on this side back together. Got the radiator guard, you know, back in place. My Joe's racing mirror, that's in there. Yeah, I think things are looking really good. It's starting to look like a car again. So, you know, I got to do a little cleanup. Got some overspray on some things, but yeah, everything looks really good. And then today I got a order in with AMSOIL. I'm going to be running their 15 W50 synthetic engine oil. So normally I run 2050, but I'm going to try this 15 weight out. And you know what my plan is I mean, the 2050 is fine, but it's super thick, and I want it for this to be thick. But at Hammers, it's super cold in the morning, and I'm hoping, you know, just by getting that 15, you know, that'll flow just a little bit lighter in the very beginning on the cold starts. You know, that's all I'm looking for out of it. And so I got some of that coming for the car. So, all right. Get back to it. Probably gonna go home. I'm really tired.